Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning Blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and today we're going to talk about Q1 2025 in review. I'm still not sure how the entire quarter of the first quarter of 2025 has magically just flown by, but we are already in Q2 of 2025. This year has just flown by, but there's quite a bit of flurry of activity here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to review the major standard setters, what they were doing during Q1. Some finished quite a bit, some have a lot of work in progress, but we've got some activity to talk about. So in terms of what was issued by the FASB, we ended up with two ASUs, but both of them really small, very niche, very narrow. The first one is around the effective date for DICE, the disaggregation of income statement expenses project. And that is just an effective date clarification. So no changes to the actual standard, just a clarification around effective dates. ASU 2025-02, equally very small and specifically for SEC filers. So both 2025-01 and 2025-02 are only for public business entities here. 2025-02 focusing on SEC paragraphs from SAB 122. So again, really small standards, but they did issue two. They also got out two proposals, one related to codification amendments, and the big one, the invitation to a comment for the agenda consultation. And this is one that we do encourage you to take a close look. We did a deep dive blog on this, so you can go back into the blogs and take a look. But this is really important. That is going to be where you can really influence what the FASB works on next. And we know from the 2021 agenda consultation that they take it seriously. If you look at the top items that came out of that and what work has been done, they really do stick true to that. So the more feedback you give the FASB, the more control you have over the future of standard setting. Other things that have come out of the FASB, the PCC did issue their very first ever annual report. This came from the PCC review that was done, trying to provide more information to the public about what they're doing behind the scenes. So they do have a full-on annual report. But most importantly, the FASB at the very end of the quarter managed to vote in favor of three standards: determining the accounting acquirer in the acquisition of VIEs, hedge accounting improvements, and measurement of credit loss for accounts receivable and contract assets for private companies and certain nonprofits. I will tell you that one's going to change in terms of title because it's now been expanded to include all entities, including public business entities for a portion of it. So as a result, these are standards that have been voted yes, but are coming to be issued in the next quarter. So they're all expected in Q2. So just kind of stay out, look out. But if you're interested in what they say, those have been voted out and you can see the votes. GASB did not issue any standards, but they did put out a preliminary reviews document on severe financial stress. This is what was formerly the Going Concern project, and taking the Going Concern documentation that we had from the AICPA that was brought into the GASB standards and really reflecting the reality of governmental entities. So you'll see severe financial stress as opposed to going concern and probable dissolution, right? So they replaced this going concern language, so very government specific. In addition, they released a report on the utilization of GASB standards by governments, and it reported that 100% of states, 74% of counties, and 71% of municipalities issue GAAP financial statements. So in some localities, there is regulatory basis of accounting used. We wanted to understand who is using GASB GAAP when it's issued, and so it's a very interesting report. I highly recommend you take a look at it. On the AICPA side of the house, all of the major committees have had some projects done. Peak issued their Section 529 plans as final. So that is now an interpretation. And this is just moving 529 plan ownership out of being a direct financial interest into being an indirect financial interest for independence purposes. And they're interested in your views on alternative practice structures, or PE, and its impact on independence. So definitely want to take a closer look at that as well. The ASB has issued a bunch of proposals, their strategic plan, what should they be focused on from 2026 to 2030. Remember, they do have a new chair coming in, so that's going to be sort of their, once they set that expectation, what are they supposed to be working on for the next few years? The new chair will have that as their guide. But they also proposed a new SAS on external confirmations that is in alignment with the PCAOB standards and does have a huge focus on confirmations for cash. So something I would recommend you take a look at, as well as a proposed SSAE on scope limitations in a review engagement. And this has to do with sustainability reporting and options with respect to how do we do a report in these scenarios. So more alignment with the international standards. But probably for many of you, the one that everyone's been talking about is SARS 27, which is the applicability of AR Section 70 to consulting. So basically giving people the option to move their CAS services into consulting out of preparation and therefore out of quality management. So definitely something that people can take a look at. All right, so that's a wrap. Q1, a lot of activity, not all final, but definitely interesting and a lot of movement. So we should see a bunch of final standards come out in Q2. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of update on what the standard setters have been working on while you have been in the middle of busy season. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope to see you on a future blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.